Hello guys. To all my new viewers, welcome here, and to all my returning viewers, welcome back. This is part 2 of the video series in which I show you how to make this small boat or fishing boat. In part 1 we made the hull, and that's by far the biggest piece. And in this part 2 we're going to make the deck and the smokestack or chimney. And if you haven't seen part 1 yet, I will put a link to that in the description below and in some kind of on-screen card that will show in the video now. So let's grab the yarn for the deck and let's get started. Now for row 1 we make a slip knot and then we chain 2. 1, 2. For row 2 we're going to chain 1 more and then we go through the second stitch from the hook here. And we make a single crochet. And then we make a second single crochet in the next stitch. There we go, so that was row 2. Now for row 3, we chain 1, we turn, and now we're going to make an increase here in both stitches. And when I say increase, I mean 2 single crochet into the same stitch. So that's our first increase in the first stitch. And we go through and make the second increase here in the second stitch. There we go, so that was row 3. Now for row 4, we're going to chain 1, we're going to turn, and then we're just going to make 4 single crochet, 1 in each stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and the fourth one. There we go. Now for row 5, we're going to chain 1, we're going to turn, we're going to make an increase here in the first stitch. Once again, that's 2 single crochet into the same stitch. So that's our increase. Now we go ahead and make 2 single crochet into 2 middle stitches here, 1 in each. And then we put an increase here in the last stitch of the row. There we go. So that was row 5. Now for row 6, we are going to chain 1, we're going to turn, and we're going to make 6 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 6th and last one here in this row. There we go, that was row 6. Now for row 7, it's going to be another increase row. So we chain 1, turn, and we put an increase in the first stitch here. Now we go ahead and make 4 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and the 4th. And then we put an increase here in the last stitch. There we go, that was row 7. And for row 8, we chain 1, we turn, and we're going to make 8 single crochet. So no increases. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and our 8th and last here. Here we go, so that was row 8. Now for row 9, it's going to be an increase row. So we chain 1, we turn, and we make an increase here in the first stitch. Now we're going to go ahead and make 6 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 6th. Then we go ahead and make an increase in the last stitch here. So that was row 9. Now for row 10, it's going to be a simple row. We chain 1, we turn, and we're going to make 10 single crochet. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the 10th and last stitch here. That was row 10. Now row 11 is going to be another increase row. So we chain 1, we turn, and we make an increase here in the first stitch. And now we should have 8 single crochet or single stitch. We should have 8 stitches up until the last stitch here. So that's 1, 2 single crochet, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 8th one here. So that's 8 single crochet, and we put an increase here in the last stitch. That was row 11. Now for row 12, this is going to be a simple row again. We chain 1, turn, and we're going to make 12 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the 12th. That was row 12. Now for row 13 and 14, we are going to repeat that row. So do the same thing again. We chain 1, we turn, and we put 12 double crochet on this row as well, 1 in each stitch. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the 12th. So it was row 13. Or row 14, same thing. Chain 1, turn, and we put 12 single crochet on this row as well, 1 in each stitch. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the 12th. Stitch there. So it was row 14. Now for row 15, This is going to be another increase row again. So we chain 1, we turn, we put an increase here in the first stitch. Then we're going to make 10 single crochet in the next stitches, in the next 10 stitches, so one in each. And I lost count now, but I'm just going to keep going until I have one stitch left on the row. There we go. And in the last stitch here, we put another increase. There we go. So that was row 15. Now for row 16, it's going to be another simple row. Chain 1, we turn, and we're going to make 14 single crochet, one in each stitch here. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and the 14th and last one here. So that was row 17. That's going to be the pattern now for every row up until row 26. So from row 16 to and including row 26 is going to be 1 chain turn, 14 single crochet. So I'm just going to do that off camera. You can pause this video now and play it again once you reach row, or once you're done with row 26. And we're going to pick it up again there. Now we're done with row 26. It's time for row 27. And now we're going to start to decrease this piece down again to get the same angle up here as we have down here. So row 27 is going to be 1 chain, turn, and then we put a decrease in the first 2 stitches here. And I make my decreases like this. I go through the first stitch, I pick up yarn, then I go through the second stitch to pick up yarn, and then with 3 loops here on the hook, I yarn over and I go through all 3. Because that will make a much thicker decrease, so it won't be any gaps in it. Then we're going to go ahead and make 10 single crochet in the next 10 stitches, 1 in each. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a 10. And then we make a decrease in the last 2 stitches here. So go through, pick up, go through the last stitch, pick up, and with 3 loops, yarn over and go through all 3. So it was row 27. Now for row 28, it's going to be a real simple row. We just chain 1 turn, and now we're going to single crochet once in each stitch for a row total of 12. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the 12th and last stitch here. So that was row 28. Row 29, we're going to do the exact same thing. We chain 1 turn, and we're going to make 12 single crochet. This 2, 3, 4, oh, that went wrong. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the 12th and last here. So that was row 29 for row 30. It's going to be the exact same thing. Chain 1 turn. We're going to make 12 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the 12th here. So it was row 30. Now for row 31, we're going to continue to decrease. We're going to chain 1, turn, and we're going to put a decrease in the first 2 stitches here. And now we should have 8 single crochet, or we should have 10 stitches left, and that's going to be 8 single crochet. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's 2 stitches left. We're going to decrease. There we go. So it was row 31. Row 32. It's going to be real simple. We chain 1, we turn, and we're going to make 10 single crochet. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that's row 32. Row 33, we are going to decrease again. So we chain 1, we turn, and we start with a decrease. And now we're going to make 6 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a 6. And then we make another decrease. There we go. Now for row 34, it's going to be another one of those simple rows. So we chain 1, we turn, and we're going to make 8 single crochet. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 8th and last one here. So for row 35, we're going to chain 1, we're going to turn, and this is going to be another decrease row. So we start off with a decrease. Then we're going to make 4 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we have another decrease. And there we go. So it was row 35. For 36, it's going to be a simple row. We chain 1, we turn, and we're going to make 6 single crochet. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 6th and last one here. Oh, skip there. So that was row 36. Row 37 is going to be a decrease row. So we chain 1, turn, and we start with a decrease. Now we're going to make 2 single crochet. So 1, 2, and now a second decrease. There we go. So row 38 is going to be a simple row again. So we chain 1, we turn, and we're going to make 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Row 39 is going to be a decrease row, and we're kind of running out of stitches here. So this one is just going to be 2 decreases. So we decrease in the first 2, and then we decrease in the last 2. So we should now have 2 stitches left here. And that's going to be row 40. We're just going to go through and make 1 single crochet in each one of those 2 stitches. And that is actually all there is to the half piece. We can add 1 more chain here, and then we can go ahead and cut this. And we can pull the yarn through. Because when we attach this piece to the hull, we are not going to use this color. So these ends, we can just weave them in. And this piece has no up or down, or has no up or down, or in or out face. It doesn't really matter if you do it if you attach it like this or like this. What we do is we're just going to thread the needle with one of the tails. And then this is the start tail. So we don't want this knot to poke through in the end. So I go through the first stitch here and I pull the knot in a bit. Then I go through the second and pull it in even more. And then we can just decide, pull this a bit, like so the knot is not showing through here. Then we can just decide that this is the back side. So I go through like a stitch here in the back, pull it down, make sure it's even, not to over tighten or under tighten this. Once we're happy, we go through the same stitch again to create kind of like a loop here. So that will lock the yarn. Once we have the loop, we can just go ahead and work it through a few more stitches here. Once we're happy, we just cut off the rest. And we pull it in. Take the second tail here. Make sure the chain is tight. And then, since this is the back side, we are going to work this in the same way. Pull it in. Then I go through the second stitch to get it here to the back side. We make sure it's even. And then I just go through like the next stitch here on the back. I make a loop around that stitch, which will lock the yarn. And then I go through a few more. And a few more. And we go ahead and cut this off. So that's the hull piece, that's the deck piece. So now we should have one finished hull piece and one finished deck piece. And you can see that this is going to go into here and be stitched or be crocheted along this side or the sides here. The next piece we're going to make is the smokestack or chimney. And this is a really simple piece. We are going to make this with black and then we're going to change color to red, or in my case green. And it's mostly, or it's only, single crochet basically. So for row 1 we are going to chain, let's make that a bit longer. So for row 1 we are going to chain 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Now for row 2, we're going to chain 1, then we're going to go through, not the first, but here the second stitch from the hook, and we're going to make a single crochet. Then we're going to continue making single crochet all the way back for a row total of 18. So that's 2, going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and the 18th and last one here. There we go. So that was row 2. Now for row 3, this is going to be the exact same thing. We chain 1, we turn, and we're going to make 18 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. I can find it. There it is. So that was row 3, and we're just going to continue like that up to row 17. But you can stop before the last stitch of row 17. But it's just the same thing as chain 1, turn, 18 single crochet. But stop on row 17 on the next to last stitch, and we'll pick it up again there in just a few seconds. So now we're here at the next to last stitch of row 17. We're stopping here because we're going to change color here before going into the next row. So I go through the last stitch here and pick up yarn. But here we make a pulse. And we're taking out our second color yarn. This was the red you saw on the boats that I had pre-made already. And in this tutorial I'm using green for the ring on the smokestack. So I pick out the green and I pull through. And with the green on the hook, I chain 1. Then I tighten them down a bit. And we turn, and we can start to single crochet our way back. And I don't worry about these for now, I'm just going to fasten them later. So now we continue with the green yarn, because this is row 18. So it's going to be 18, 19, 20, 21 is going to be with green yarn. And it's the same thing. We start a row with chain 1 turn, and we make 18 single crochet, and then we repeat. So I'm just going to do this off camera as well, but like I said, 4 rows with this queen, and I will see you here in a little bit. So now we're here after these 4 rows. I once again stopped one before the end here, and this is 17, the black, so with these 4, this is row 21. Now once again we're going to change color back to black. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. And with that ready, we go through the last stitch here, same thing we did when we changed to green. We pick up the green yarn, so 2 green loops, we use the black, and we pull through. And if we look at this piece now, this is looking much better. See if you can focus. This row, this change, is looking much better than this, so this is going to be our outside. So now that we change color to black again, we are going to chain 1, turn, and we're once again going to make 18 single crochet. We're going to make 2 rows with the black. On row 22 and 23. The last stitch of the row. There we go. We chain 1, we turn, and this is going to be row 23. And it's still going to be 18 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, there we go. That was row 23. And we can actually go ahead and make one more chain up here to lock this. And then we can cut this off. And we don't need to bother leaving any tails here really, except for one green. So we don't cut this too long, something like that. And then in this green that we still have attached from when we changed up here, we're gonna cut this, leaving about, I don't know, almost a foot maybe, roughly a foot, because we're gonna use that green while stitching these 2 green surfaces together here. But the rest, like the black, we're gonna have circles up and down as well, so we can use tails from them. So this one where we made a chain, I'm just gonna pull this through, and now we can go ahead and attach all the loose ends. So we start with the one on the top here. We thread the needle. And then, since we have a knot here that's formed by the chain, I first go through, this is the front, so I go through from the back here to pull it down and in. But not to over tighten this. Something like that. Then I go through a few stitches here. Once again, not over tighten. Then I go through to the back again. Now we can see that this is a square corner, kind of, and the knot has been pulled in. Then I go to the back side. I go through a stitch here. And I make a loop around that stitch and onto some new ones. Like so. And then I just work through on the back side here a few more stitches to keep the tail out of the way. Now we can cut it off. We move on to these. Let's start with the green one because we don't want this to do this to be undone. So we start with the green one here. And this is the one where we left kind of like a foot. So what we do is we pull this to make sure it's tight. Then I go through a stitch nearby, make a loop, go through that stitch again, and like maybe one more. There we go. That should keep it. Then I go through to the outside. And then in here somewhere. There we go. Now we have this. This won't come undone, and this is ready for when we need to attach the parts. Or to attach the sides together. I move on to the next black thread here. Thread the needle. First we transfer this to the back. Like so. We do the same thing here. We go through some threads. Oh, dropped it there. We go through some threads here on the back. Pull it. Make sure it's good. And then we loop through the same stitches. And then we can just work this in somewhere. Just go through here on the back to keep this out of the way and locked in place. There we go. That should do it, and we cut it off. This one we're going to leave, and we move on to this. And down here we have the same scenario, but the black one being the one we need to secure to make sure it doesn't come undone. We pull this kind of tight. Now we go through here on the back side. Make a loop in some thread or a stitch. And we go through the same again to create the loop. And we just go through a few stitches here on the back to keep it out of the way. We cut off the rest. Now we take the green one. Let's see where that's at. That's here. So we move this to here first of all. Then we go through to the back again. Yeah, looks all right. Thread the needle. We're going to make a loop around some stitches here, like so. And then we just simply work it in. And then we cut off the rest. Now we only have the start tail here left. So we thread the needle. We check, this is our outside. So we don't want any knots on this side, so what we do, this is the outside, so I hold it like this. I go through like like somewhere in the middle here, just to pull that knot in. We go over to the back again. See, now it's kind of a square corner. And we're going to loop around something here on the back to keep it locked. Here comes the loop. And we work it into some stitches here. Like so. And I keep on working it into some stitches. Now we're happy, we cut it off. So that's the chimney or smokestack piece. Next, we're going to make a top and a bottom piece for this, and that's going to be 2 circles. And these are going to be really simple. We start off with the magic circle. Then I chain 1. Then we're going to make 6 single crochet into this magic circle. I don't really count the chain as a stitch when I single crochet. And you saw this is the tail for the magic circle, and this is the one we're going to pull to close it. And I made the first stitch, and I was going to make the second stitch around the tail, like so. And then I let it just hang here in the middle. So that's 2 stitches. We continue with 3, 4, 5, and the 6th and last. So that's the first row into this magic circle here. And with those in place, we can grab this out here and pull this closed. Now we're going to find the first stitch here, and we're going to go through, pick up, and then slip stitch into this stitch to close the circle. There we go. And then we chain 1. So for row 2, we chain 1 like we did, and we're going to put an increase in every stitch. So I start here in the first stitch to make an increase. And we go through the next stitch here, same thing, make an increase. Let's see here, stitch 3, same thing, make an increase. Four, make an increase. 5, make an increase. And our 6th and last stitch here, we also make an increase. There we go, so that's row 2, and to close this, we once again go through the first stitch here, and we slip stitch. So for row 3, once again we chain. This time we put 1 single crochet in our first stitch, and now we increase in our second. Now we're going to alternate around to the end here, making single crochet and then an increase in the next. So that was increase, that means this is single crochet, that means the next one is increase, then single crochet, and an increase, then single crochet, then increase, and a single crochet, increase, single crochet. And since we started on single crochet, we're going to end here on increase. There we go, that was the third and last row. So once more, we find the first here, and we slip stitch into the first. Now we're going to leave quite a tail, like maybe, I don't know, 1.5 to a foot. That's like 60 centimeters, 2 feet. We cut it off, and we're going to pull this through. And the only thing we attach for now is this start tail. And we're going to need like the 2 feet of yarn to attach this to the chimney at a later stage. I think I'm going to be using this where you can see the rings as my outside and leave this as the back side. So I'm going to attach the thread from the magic circle here on the back. And you see, so I pulled it tight, and then I go through somewhere, create a loop, go through the loop to make a knot, and I pull the loop closed before pulling through. We're going to make like 2 of those, anywhere here on the back. There we go. And then I just work it somewhere here on the back for a few stitches. And then back again. Then I cut it off. So that's our top and bottom piece. You're gonna need to make one more exactly like this one. So just rewind and rewatch this and make a second piece. And that's actually gonna conclude this video part 2, in where we made the chimney or smokestack, the bottom and end piece for the chimney smokestack, and the deck of the boat. So in total, if you watched part 1 and 2, we should now have these pieces plus the hull. And that's actually gonna be it for this video. I will be back shortly with part 3. And if you're watching this in the future, it probably will already be out. And then in that case, there's gonna be a link in the description below. And in part 3, we are probably gonna make the cabin, because that's really the only piece left. And then in part 4, we are going to assemble. So until then, thank you for watching, stay safe, consider subscribing, and consider leaving a like if you liked the video. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, bye!